Hi, everybody. It's Michelle Hill, your legacy builder at Winning Proof, and I am here with another episode of Winning Proof Unscripted. As you know, I have been interviewing or having chats with my esteemed teammates that make everything happen behind the scenes. And today I have Karen Strauss with Hybrid Global Publishing. And I just want to welcome you, Karen. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Michelle. It's a pleasure to be here to have a conversation with you.
Well, me too. And I send a lot of my clients to Karen, and we were just talking offline before we started recording that it takes some time for when somebody comes to me and says, I have an idea for a book. And by the time it gets to Karen, it's usually several months later. Right. So Karen, kind of share with people a little bit about your background and how you got into publishing and about your business.
Sure. So I've been in the publishing industry for 38 years. So I like to say that I've been in the business since the Gutenberg Bible was invented. So I've seen a lot of changes, evolutions, and I started off in traditional publishing. So worked at Random House, Macmillan, Crown, in sales and marketing and publicity. So when I decided that it was time to leave publishing, there were a lot of mergers and acquisitions and a lot of things were happening. And I had always wanted to start my own company. And so the easy transition for me was I became a freelance national account sales representative and started working with a number of different independent publishing houses to represent them at Barnes & Noble, at the time Borders, Books A Million, the big chains, wholesalers, and the airport stores. And during that time, there were a lot of changes. There were a lot of people who were doing self-publishing. Hybrid publishing was becoming kind of in its infancy. And so a lot of people were coming to me and saying, how do I get into Barnes & Noble? How do I get into Borders? Can you show me how? Can you help me do this publicity plan? And so people were finding me. And then I decided a number of years later in 2011, you know what? Why don't I start a publishing company? So I'd had a lot of experience by then. And there seemed to be a need, particularly for entrepreneurs who wanted to use their book as a marketing tool, as a calling card, and to use their book, not necessarily just to get into bookstores, but to use it as a part of their business. So that's the reason I started Hybrid Global Publishing, to work with coaches and entrepreneurs and speakers to use their book as what we call a lead magnet, as giveaways to build a mailing list, and to get on speaking stages and podcasts and radio shows, and to create visibility and authority. And so that's what we've been doing for the past 12, 13 years.
What is your favorite part? Do you have a favorite part of the whole process?
That's a great question. I would say my favorite part is going through part of it is going through the journey, like seeing our authors at the beginning. They're kind of a hot mess, most of them. And so, and the journey and the process, as you had said earlier, can take a very long time. Part of that is there's usually like a nervous breakdown, that happens somewhere in the middle of things. And right, have you noticed this? That somewhere in the middle of it, people, even if they're writing just a straight business book, there's some trauma or an event that happens that they haven't dealt with yet. And it just comes up for them. It's or life gets in the way. And so while that's obviously not my favorite part is when they're done and they are like a proud mama or papa, right? I feel like a proud mama that we have accomplished what seemed like insurmountable odds, that they have this new baby and they're so proud of what they've accomplished. It gives me just chills just knowing that I played a small role in making this happen.
That is so exciting to see that journey, isn't it? To just see,
Yes.
and you do have to take, I think that we are part therapist in the book writing process, because we reassure, we prop up the author that has, most of them have never been through this process before, some have, but we just are the cheerleader along the way. So
we are. I think we should be certified as a life coach. I really do.
yes, I absolutely agree. So on the flip side of that, are there parts that you don't particularly enjoy about, maybe a client comes to you and they have no idea what direction and they keep changing directions, whatever it is? Is there a part that causes you a little bit of angst?
I don't think that's it. I think one thing, if there's a specific part during the process, it's when we're doing the cover design. And the cover design is such a creative and intimate process that most people don't have an idea or a concept, and they can't visualize it.
Mhm.
And that's not their fault. They don't have any training. But what happens is, if you're not really clear about your purpose, who your audience is, who you're trying to appeal to, if you haven't, and we try and deal with that, but if you don't have that kind of nailed down and what your messaging is, then what happens is there becomes this big mess. And so we might design a few designs and then they'll go, no, that's not what I meant. Or could we try this? Or could we try that? But they're kind of throwing things against the wall, trying to make it stick. And so that causes me angst, because designers have not necessarily infinite patience, and and so and there comes a point where you have to just kind of put an end to it. So we try and nail that cover process from the beginning and cover those bases, and most of the time that works pretty well, but sometimes it's tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if the project scope keeps changing. Like maybe it is one scope and it's a narrowed scope at the beginning, and then they come back to you, oh no, it's this now, and then it's
Right.
this now. And that's no fault of theirs. It's just the project, as we know, a book evolves into, it kind of takes on a life of its own during its journey toward publication. And so but just like Chat GPT, it's a cover designer is only as good as the prompts that the
That's true.
authors give it, correct?
That really is true. So yeah, we try and ask you leading questions. We ask you to go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble or somewhere and choose various covers that you like. We want to get an idea of your aesthetic. Do you have brand colors? Do you have a website that uses certain colors that we should be aware of? So we're trying to ask these kinds of questions first and get you prepared for the meeting with the cover designer. And so we try and at least take away some of the risk, but some of the pain.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if people are watching this and they are very, very new to the business of publishing, can you kind of describe the difference between hybrid publishing, traditional publishing, POD, and self-publishing? And I know those are broad categories.
Yeah,
but
that's an hour speech in itself, but we'll
Yes, I
just slow
know.
that down. We don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, exactly.
So everybody, I think, is familiar with traditional publishing. That's Random House and Simon and Schuster, Macmillan, those Crown, those publishers. They will, at this point, they're really looking for celebrities, people who are influencers, people with big platforms, that kind of thing. When I was in publishing, we were looking for good writers, but the idea with traditional publishing is they might pay you in advance. It might be a small advance. If you're a celebrity, they pay you a larger advance. So they pay you. They also take on the publishing of your book. So they own the rights to your intellectual property. That's important to know. And they pay for everything, for the editing and the cover design and the marketing and everything that happens. They do pay for it, but they own your rights for at least 7 years. So for entrepreneurs who, it may not be the right kind of marketing, the right kind of publishing for entrepreneurs and speakers who need instant access to their content. So their primary goal is to get your books into bookstores and sell your books through bookstores. And so that to me is somewhat antiquated. They don't do a lot of digital marketing and ads and and that TikToks and social media, that kind of thing. So so it's something to be aware of. One of my sales accounts used to tell me that publishers were the marketing geniuses of the 18th century. Just saying. So, and it's true today.
Excellent point. Yes.
Right. So it really depends. And the truth is that if you're writing something like mystery or romance or science fiction, for instance, you might be better off self-publishing. So because those genres are, people gobble that up and they want to read it mostly as an ebook because they read so much. They want to discover, they're really happy to discover new authors, but they can't pay $15 or $20 for a print book, but they can afford $5 to $10 for an ebook to discover. Or if they join, let's say, Kindle Unlimited, they discover new books all the time. So if you're writing that kind of genre fiction, that might be the best kind of publishing for you. Of course, when you self-publish, they do no marketing. Self-publishing is self-publishing. It means you have to find your own type interior designer, cover designer, copy editor, proofreader, all those things. Or they come to someone like you, which is great, to help them, because you've got the people, right? So you've got the people, and then you could turn it over to them to have their own account at Amazon or Ingram or wherever. And that's how we partner. So that's, you could get a little bit of both in that kind of self-publishing genre. But self-publishing, you kind of really have to, if you're going to go it on your own, you have to know who to go to. What is the difference between a copy editor and a proofreader and a developmental editor, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a lot of research involved. So just be careful and do your research about that. Self-publishing, the advantage of that is that you do get to keep all the money. Nobody's taking a royalty or an advance, although Amazon and other accounts will take maybe a 30% commission from what you're selling. So you do have to be aware of how much money they are taking. And then there's hybrid, which is becoming more and more popular and more mainstream, particularly for speakers and authors and coaches who are constantly doing something with their content. So they might have a mastermind, or they might have they have a business and it's a consulting business. They might create a course out of it. 35 YouTube videos, podcasts that come out of books. So the hybrid is a cross between a traditional publishing house and a self-publisher. What we do is we have a team of people. The good news is that everybody that we work with has already been vetted by us. So we are a one-stop shop. You can come to us. We work, and if you haven't written the book, then you can work with a developmental editor, or you can work with, and then we assign copy editors, proofreaders, all sorts of editors, and they are already vetted by us. So we know they're good, and we know that's what they do for a living. And they just haven't, it's not their cousin who's 20 years old who was good in English, right? So
Yes, yes.
so there's that. And then we work with you in all sorts of, from soup to nuts. We work with you not only the production of the book and the ebook. We do distribution to 40,000 retailers and wholesalers, and we market it. We help you with the marketing. So building a launch team, getting an Amazon, being a bestseller in Amazon, getting you reviews, getting you on guests, podcasts, radio shows, getting on speakers, getting on speaking stages. So we have a lot of variety of how we can launch your book as well. So hybrid is also a little bit of a pioneer, because we, for instance, will offer 80% in royalties. 80% of our net revenue goes to the author.
Mhm.
Other hybrid publishers may offer 50% or less.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
you have to be careful. Where one author came to me and said, well, I talked to this other hybrid publisher, and there was no editing. And it was like $12,000 and there was no editing.
Oh.
And it's like, really? But they did SEO, they did search engine optimization, they did what they considered social media, whatever. But if your book is not going to be checked and edited, it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah, that's a big wow.
So my advice would be do your homework, and determine before you're writing the book, I think, or during the writing of the book, research all three options,
Yep.
right? And figure out what's best for you, because there'll be a comfort zone then. You're writing the book, and then you're going to know how you're going to publish.
Exactly. Yeah. And I love that you just gave such a comprehensive view of those, because I think people entering the publishing world for the first time are just, they're Googling things.
Right.
And, I've had experience with a potential client, and he said, yeah, this company wants to charge me $90,000. And here's a list of what they're providing. And it was ISBN numbers.
I know, right?
Codes. And I'm just like, no.
Right. And the copyright office, they always
Yeah.
tout that one. We'll help you get your book copyrighted.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. So that just, just knowing that like you said, the team has been vetted. All of my partners, my teammates I have long-standing relationships that I know they're going to deliver. I
Right.
know they're going to do their best, and they all really care about the quality of the book that my clients are doing. And
And that's invaluable. I think that is
Yeah.
precious. That is precious gold right there, to work with someone like you, or possibly me, right? To, you are a professional, and you're not going to work with anybody who's less than high quality.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen hot messes of books, and I've seen books formatted by, like, I had one client that just had a wonderful story. He used to be a trainer for a high profile NBA player, and somebody he met or reunited with at a college reunion, and they formatted it, and I'm just like, oh, I can't promote this. I can't. Thank God my name isn't in it, because it was just that no middle margin. Everything was left justified, all this stuff. And so I know you and I just, and all my teammates are just, no, that can't be.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of that.
It's, yeah, you can't put that out into the world. And, they should, be grateful to you for that, because, it's their brand, it's their reputation, it's their name. And to
Yes.
put that dreck out into the world like that
Yes.
is going to come back at them, because who's going to work with them? Otherwise, who's going to want to read what they have to say if it looks like that?
Exactly. And readers don't want to read, like you look at a page and it's a wall of text, a wall of solid text with no breaks and no, none of that. And I know that makes us cringe, because
Crazy. Yeah.
we know what a good book should look like. And so I want us to switch gears a little bit. You have a Big Leap retreat that you offer on your website, and I'm going to ask you in a few minutes to share your contact information and all that. But what is the Big Leap retreat, and what can readers or authors expect from it?
It's actually one of my favorite things. It's a 2-day virtual retreat. And so it's for people who know they're serious about writing a book, but maybe that book has been on the back burner for years, or they might have 10 ideas and they're not exactly sure, what they want to do. So the retreat, we put you through various exercises, so you discover your big idea. So we do a lot of a lot of people are familiar with the method, mind mapping, right? So we do book mapping. So we get you to figure out what the big idea is, what's going to be the most exciting for you to write at this time. And then we prepare you. What you get out of the 2 days is a great outline. Once you discover the big idea for the book, we have our editorial director, and we work with you to create that outline. What are the big headers? What are the bullet points, the talking points? Where are you going to add stories? And so that's like your GPS system, and you're going to have all that by the end of 2 days. And the fun part, one of the fun parts is we prepare you to do a 2-minute pitch on your book. To create this 2-minute pitch, and then you present it to a panel of people who are, in fact, you need to come and be one of our panel members. We have publishers and speaking coaches and publicists, people who are used to pitches all day long, right? And so you get some really great feedback on your messaging and your energy and the idea for the book, your call to action. And so some of that is public, right? So they'll share that, but much of it is private, so that nobody gets embarrassed. And they get to share that the panel gets to share what they feel you really need to work on and what was great, and so on and so forth. And you get we found that you get a lot of clarity. And that could be, writing a book is not the right thing for me to do now. We've had that happen. And other people go, I came in, I thought I was going to write this book, but I decided I was more excited to write this book, and this book makes more sense to me. So that's really the Big Leap retreat. We do it 4 times a year. Our next one is coming up, actually. It's August 24th and 25th.
Okay, and people can go on your website to sign up for that.
They can sign up, hybridglobalpublishing.com/retreat, or they can just go to hybridglobalpublishing.com, and then there's a form they can fill out, and that will, and then I can write them back.
Oh, that is awesome. That's just awesome. And that's good, because sometimes writers need the clarity, like you said, to really move forward with their books, because you can't really move forward with a book unless you are clear about your readers, about the why you're writing a book. Because when those tough parts come of, I don't know, if they're writing their own book and not using a ghostwriter, it's just, oh my gosh, I'm so stuck. But
right?
You have to keep going back to that why am I doing this? And what is my purpose?
That is so true. And even if it's just a post-it note that you put on your laptop, right? This is my purpose, whether it's my kids or, I want to save $100,000 so I can take the trip of a lifetime and, or whatever, put my kid through school, whatever it is, it's like right there in front of you when you're having a down day. It then perks you up.
Yeah, exactly. So my lighting keeps, as everybody can see, I have 2 windows and my lighting keeps going bright and dim according to what the sun is doing. So I just want to bring that like this. That's what's happening with my lighting.
Okay, I was wondering. Okay.
Yes, it's just these side windows. But the last question I have for you before I ask how people can connect with you is, you have all these, over 3 decades of publishing experience. What are the top 2 or 3 things you have learned about yourself through that journey?
I didn't see that one coming. Having a purpose, having a why. I didn't even realize how strong, not only strong a pull it is, how essential it is to keep that purpose in front of you all the time. So that was a key writer downer for me. That was a key thing that I learned about myself. And what else did I learn about myself? That I live for helping people who I feel like there's a great gift that I have that I'm able to share with my authors, and that is, I'm going to get you through the journey, right? I'm going to be there. I'm going to be your greatest cheerleader, and that gives me so much satisfaction. And to me, it's like a standing ovation. It really is.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always like to ask that because it does kind of come out of nowhere. And
a great question.
What have I learned about myself? Oh my gosh. So I really appreciate your answers there. And if somebody is listening to this or watching this and they want to connect with you and they're interested in the hybrid global publishing, and they just want to, maybe not use my services, but just go straight to what you offer and all the services, the retreat and everything, which is all in your website, beautiful website. How can people connect with you?
So they can just go to hybridglobalpublishing.com, and then there's a contact us button, and then they can fill out a form. And it comes directly to me, and then I will write you back, and we can connect that way.
Wonderful. Any social media links?
LinkedIn at Karen Strauss. Everything I have yes, the best page to connect with me is LinkedIn, Karen Strauss, Facebook, Karen Strauss. Okay. I do have a hybrid global publishing page as well on Facebook. Those are probably I'm on Instagram and all of that, but I think the 2 best ones are Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay, and I'll put all these in the show notes so people have them. They have the direct links and all that. So I will definitely do that. And I just, I'm just so thankful that you took time today to talk about your experience and your wisdom in the industry, and just share so many golden nuggets about what people can expect during the journey. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me, Michelle. And it's I can't wait to work together on our next client, because it's a joy working with you, honestly.
Oh, I find it the same way. Thank you. And I just want to close out by telling everybody, if you want a book, if you have an idea for a book, you can contact Winning Proof. My email is winningproof@gmail.com, and my website is winningproof.com. I will also add those to the show notes, and I would love to talk to you about your book idea and see if we can kind of hone the idea and get it going, so you can go on your process, on your journey toward Karen as well, because she knows her stuff as well. So anyway, thank you for watching another episode of Winning Proof Unscripted. And until next time, bye.